I'm doing this on my own.
Since getting a divorce from Duane Martin, Tisha Campbell has been living her best life. Or so we thought. Recently, her friend spilled the tea on how she's really doing, and it's not looking good. The worst part is that Duane was the one who put her in this situation. But what did he do? What did Tisha's friend say about him? Without wasting any time, let's dive straight into it. Tisha has always been one of those celebrities who loves to keep things to herself. So it's understandable that no one really knows what goes on in her life, except those that are close to her. And from what one of her close friends, Dani Wright, recently said, it's obvious that she's been going through a lot. It all came out thanks to a TikTok video. Tisha and Dani both used filters that made them look older than they were in the video, and they were making fun of themselves because of it. But this wasn't what caught everyone's attention, because there was a certain comment that Dani made that really stuck out to people. Tisha had jokingly called out Dani for always making her look funny online thanks to the filter. In her words, she looked like her man had just left her and taken all her money. And Dani responded by saying that already happened. Immediately after Dani said this, you could tell that Tisha was stunned. But then she tried to brush it off quickly and responded with something sarcastic. But the truth is that it seemed like Dani's comment had hurt her, probably because it was true. Tisha's man did leave her and took everything that she had with him. You see, once upon a time, Tisha and her ex-husband, Duane Martin, were the poster kids for the perfect Hollywood couple. They just seemed amazing together. There was even a time that they did an interview where they were asked how they were able to make marriage work and look so great at the same time. And they responded that they were winging it like every other couple. But barely 5 years after saying this, their perfect marriage started falling apart. In a divorce settlement shared by Page 6, Tisha announced that she and Duane were going their separate ways after 27 years together. Although she didn't give any details about how and why she and Duane decided to go their separate ways, with time, the truth slowly started getting revealed. And it wasn't pretty. First, there were the harm allegations. According to Nikki Swift, barely months after Tisha filed for divorce from Duane, they both got involved in a nasty custody battle for their 2 kids. And before we could wrap our heads around what was happening, Tisha had gotten a restraining order against Duane. According to her, Duane had been harmful to her throughout their relationship, and she finally had enough. In her words, Duane had been physically, mentally, and emotionally harmful towards her while they were together. And even after she filed for a divorce from him, it didn't stop. But she had to draw the line somewhere because she couldn't continue to live in fear that he might take his actions to the next level. Now, get this. After Tisha dropped this bombshell about Duane, you'd think he'd come out to defend himself or at least explain his side of things. But instead, what he and his people did was release a statement talking about how mentally unstable Tisha was. This was pretty weird. I mean, he never once talked about her being mentally unstable while they were together. But all of a sudden, after she decided to speak up against his actions, he tried painting her as some crazy person. And it gets worse. Other than the harm, another major reason why Tisha decided that she had to leave Duane was because of money. 2 years before Tisha filed for divorce from Duane, she and Duane filed for bankruptcy as they had over $15 million in debt. According to the list, Tisha and Duane's combined salary was just $7,655, with only $200 of that being cash. But they somehow owed $455,000 to City National Bank and $39,000 to American Express and other creditors. And according to some sources close to them, this coincided with their separation. Apparently, both their schedules and money issues played into them having problems. And as a result of this, they both asked for spousal support during their divorce proceedings. However, neither of them had their wish granted. And this threw Tisha into even more financial problems. According to her, she had nothing in the bank and nothing at home. Apparently, the reason why she had nothing to begin with was because Duane had allegedly misappropriated their funds during their marriage. And some of the decisions that he had made led them to their financial situation. Let me explain. You see, because of all the financial issues they were having, the only asset Tisha was able to hold on to was her and Duane's family home in Chatsworth, California. This house was Tisha's last resort, so to speak, and Duane tried taking that away from her. According to Atlanta Black Star, Duane attempted to sell the home to pay back a $1.4 million loan that he had taken from Will Smith a while back. The backstory behind this was that Duane had settled after he was hit with a lawsuit from the trustee who was handling his and Tisha's bankruptcy case. Apparently, Duane had used a company owned by his brother called Rox LLC to hide $2.6 million in assets. And this included the mansion that he'd purchased for $900,000 back in 2006. After borrowing $1.9 million to remodel the home, Duane ended up borrowing $1.4 million from Will and Jada to buy the house back from the bank. And he did this through Rox LLC. Now, this is where it gets crazy. Rox LLC then owned the mansion that he and Tisha were living in and were paying $5,000 a month to rent. But then everything blew up in their faces and they ultimately decided to sell the home for $2.45 million, with Will getting $1.5 million of the proceeds, the bankruptcy estate getting $485,000, and $170,560 going to Duane's company. By the time 2020 rolled around, Tisha and Duane's divorce was finally settled, with neither of them getting spousal and child support, and both of them getting split custody over their youngest son, Ezekiel, since their first son, Zen, was already an adult. As for Duane, he walked away with some profit from the house sale, and Tisha was left with just $7 to her name. And this was what Dani meant when she said that Tisha's man had left her and taken all of her money. It's honestly a devastating story, and I can't help but feel bad for Tisha. But what do you guys think? Are you surprised by what Tisha's friend said in the TikTok? Did you know that Duane basically took all of Tisha's money? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below.